Hi, I'm Caroline, and so far in this series I've explored the Rocky Mountains, the Grand Tetons, discovered the amazing variation of sights and attractions in Yellowstone, and in the last week have had a change of scenery from mountains to deserts. I've discovered gems in an almost deserted Capitol Reef, found ways to avoid the crowds and the summer heat in Arches, as well as found my all-time favourite hike to date. In the last episode, my explorations got a little lazier, driving to scenic viewpoints and canyonlands and making the drive from Moab to Page a full-day road trip, stopping off at cool places along the way. In today's episode, I'll be exploring some of the attractions that the area of Page has to offer, other than Antelope Canyon.
Good morning and welcome to, technically speaking, the Glen Canyon National Park. Now, we are certainly not in the Glen Canyon part of the national park that most people know, and certainly if I was to show you some of the landscape around here, you'd be thinking there's no way you're in the national park at the moment. Our friends Lisa and Mark, who we hung out with back in Yellowstone National Park, had been here about a month ago and they highly recommended this hike to us. They didn't realise that it went down to the point where you could actually get into the river, and because they were really hot when they got down to the bottom, they ended up going skinny dipping, but they gave us the tip to actually bring some swimwear, so we've done that so that if we do want to have a cool off in the Colorado River, we are a little bit more prepared than them. However, they were raving about it, saying that no one else was on the trail. When they came back up to the parking lot, someone pulled over and said, "Oh, what's it like?" and they explained what it was like, and the people were like, "Oh, no, we don't want to do it." So we may potentially have this trail to ourselves because the lay-by that we've pulled over on, there's absolutely no one here. We're definitely in the right place because we found the sign that says that it's the Cathedral Wash hiking trail. So we're going to go and check it out and see what it's like. There you go, proof that we are about to go into the Glen Canyon National Park. So it seems like we have gotten to a point on the Cathedral Wash Trail where it's going to get a little bit hairy to continue down the riverbed. It just, obviously when it's rained, it's going to turn into a huge waterfall and there's no way in which we can get down there. So we've just taken a couple of minutes to try and work out which side we perhaps need to go on. It looks like there's a few cairns on this side, so we're going to attempt to go this way first, but it definitely looks like there's going to be quite a bit of scrambling. So it's time for the GoPro to go back into my backpack, and if it gets to a point where it's a bit easier to still hike holding it, I'll get it out a little bit later on. We've really not come very far from where I stopped the time lapse, and we feel as though we've definitely gone on the correct side because we've got these steps just down here, and then there's this cairn just behind me here, and if we go back just a little bit, in fact actually if I just turn around the camera, you can see a cairn down there, which makes us think that we do need to get down there, but that's the way in which it's saying to go, and we're just a little bit worried about how we're going to be able to get back up this, and we don't want to go down there and find ourselves completely stuck. So we're just going to take a few minutes just to take stock and work out if there is another way down, and perhaps if other hikers have put down those cairns in a misleading way. I think those cairns a little bit further on was something of a red herring, because we've come back almost to where the drop off where the waterfall would be if there was running water is, and we've come down just this little bit here, and then what we're thinking is that this section here is going to be much easier to get across, and that's going to take us back to those cairns that were quite a drop down. So we'll go this way and see how we do. Okay, I think we're through the trickiest bit now, so I'm going to flip it back onto a time-lapse mode. we've made it down to the bottom of the wash and we are now down at the Colorado River. I am pretty exhausted after that. Lots and lots of scrambling, lots of having to pull myself up on rock, and I'm really quite hot. So I'm going to quickly get changed out of my hiking shoes and into my water shoes, and I'm about to go for a dip. And I'm all changed into my water shoes and into my swimsuit, although I was wearing that underneath. And oh my word, this river is freezing cold. We have got some whitewater rafters just up there. They've been sat there, I think, for quite some time by the looks of things. I don't know, maybe if they're just trying to work out how they are going to navigate these rapids behind me. But this is absolutely freezing, but a really nice way to cool off after quite a hot and exhausting hike. Suitably cooled off, and with the exception of those river rafters, absolutely no one else has come down here. We're not too sure if we're going to come across anyone on the way back up to where we parked the car. Once again, a really lovely secluded hike. Yes, it is technically very challenging. There's lots of scrambling, having to get down on your butt, having to grab onto rocks and literally pull yourself up. But the reward when you get down here is so beautiful. I'd say that if you physically can do this hike, definitely come and do it. So it may seem like we've just jumped from down at the Colorado River after our hike down Cathedral Wash to somewhere completely different, and that is because that's exactly what has happened. So about 2 or 3 minutes after setting off back up the Cathedral Wash Canyon, I took a pretty nasty tumble and really quite badly scraped up some of my legs, and my knee I think is going to have quite a spectacular bruise on it, and it was just a real struggle to clamber up through that canyon to get back out to where we'd parked the car. And so I just decided to forget it with the GoPro. We've gone back to the house. I've gotten all cleaned up in the shower because there's a few cuts and a lot of dirt. We've had something to eat, and now we've come along to the Glen Canyon recreation area, and we're just going to have a bit of a beachy, chilled out afternoon. This is called Lake Powell, but if we're actually being completely correct, this is a reservoir because we've got the Glen Canyon Dam just a little bit further down in front of me here, and that has basically put a stop on the river that has created this huge body of water. It's just really, really nice, definitely much warmer than the Colorado River this morning. I can definitely stand being in this water for much longer. It's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon now, so the sun's starting to not be quite as strong, making it just that little bit more enjoyable. Right, I'm off to go for a swim. Good afternoon and welcome to just outside of Page. We decided to join what feels like 5,000 other tourist masses to come and have a look at Horseshoe Bend. This morning I already ducked out of going to Antelope Canyon. I was really umming and ahhing about it before the trip. It's quite a lot of money to take a tour through it. The reviews that I've read seem to be that you just get ushered on and it's all very quick and very fast paced, and to be honest it doesn't really sound like my idea of fun. Yesterday after I took that tumble in Cathedral Wash, I just thought my knee's hurting a bit too much to go and put some strain on it for something that I already am not entirely sure if I'm going to enjoy, so that kind of made the decision for that. Andy, on the other hand, I was booked onto a photography tour for the morning because he's really into his photography, and that was a completely different experience for him. He really thoroughly enjoyed it, so I've just been that good girlfriend patiently waiting this morning. I felt like I could not come all the way to Page and not do Antelope Canyon and also not do Horseshoe Bend. So we have paid the $10 to get in here. They're trying to justify what our $10 is paying for. They've said improved parking. Okay, fair enough. They have also said a future visitor centre, which doesn't really seem fair that I'm paying for something that I don't get to experience. So the view that's a little bit further down, and he's laughing at me right now, the view that's a little bit further down I'm really hoping is worth it, because there are loads and loads of people around us right now, way too many tourists than what I ideally want, but I know that I'm a tourist and I'm adding to this, but let's go and check out the view. Okay, keeping this visit to Horseshoe Bend very short and sweet, we've seen the view. Yes, it's absolutely beautiful, it is quite spectacular, and I would say that in comparison to Goosenecks that we went to a couple of days ago, it is just that little bit more impressive. However, that said, it's really crowded, really crowded, so we've made this a very quick stop. Unlike Goosenecks, there aren't really any facilities. You might be able to see behind me people crouched underneath that rock there trying to have some lunch without having to sit in the sweltering sun. There are no picnic tables, nothing that helps to shield you from the sun in order to be able to enjoy a packed lunch, which we have brought with us. We've got packed lunch with us, but I don't really fancy joining all of those people underneath the rock and getting squished into one tiny place to try and get a little bit of shade. So we're going to head back to the car, and hopefully we will come across somewhere in a little while where we can sit down and have a picnic with some shade and without the hundreds and hundreds of other people.
Join me next time in the final episode from my USA 2019 series. I'll head further south and go in search of a trail that's ideal for hiking in Sedona's summer heat. As a last hurrah before flying from Phoenix back to London, I'll also brave the harsh and unforgiving open desert outside the city for a quick wander amongst the saguaro cactuses.